There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
He also said that land confiscations that have been proceeding would end.
End, stop, done, over, not going to do it. Withdraw the lawsuits. We're out. We're not going to confiscate the land.
Biden said he would focus instead on high-tech border protections under his administration instead of a physical barrier.
This is really something not a lot of people are talking about, but it's an interesting sort of political infighting that's going on with the administration, because the Department of Defense is auctioning these materials off while Republicans are trying to use materials that, quite frankly, the U.S. has been paying a ton of money to store.
It's summertime, and that's exactly what the Biden administration is hoping, that the American public doesn't notice that $300 million of border wall materials, known as steel bollards, they're tall tubes that are meant to be erected throughout the southern border to be able to deter migrants from entering unlawfully. $300 million have been sold for only $2 million. Not only that, but during the entire Biden administration, these steel tubes have been sitting there rusting along the border rather than being erected. Again, this is politics as usual. And if you go back to 2016, this all started back when the Trump administration announced that they were going to build, quote, a big, beautiful, tall wall along the southern border. During the Trump presidency, we saw a record number of low migrant apprehensions. Enter Joe Biden. He runs on a platform saying that the wall is not only racist, but it's separating families, it's separating countries, and he wasn't going to build a single foot.
Faced with a surge in illegal crossings, the Biden administration has announced it is waiving more than 24 federal laws to add on to the border wall in southern Texas. NBC senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest. And Gabe, tell us what we know about this reversal.
Hi, Hoda. Good morning. This is a striking acknowledgement that changes are needed to stem the migrant influx at the southern border. The Department of Homeland Security waiving 26 federal laws, such as the Clean Air Act and the Safe Water Drinking Act, to allow border wall construction in Starr County, Texas. This is a major reversal for President Biden, who, during the 2020 campaign, vowed that not another foot of wall would be constructed under his administration. The president also issued a proclamation in 2021 stating that building a massive wall that spans the entire southern border is not a serious policy solution. It's a waste of money that diverts attention from genuine threats to our homeland security. In a statement overnight, Customs and Border Protection says funds for this project were appropriated by Congress in 2019 and that DHS is required to use them for their appropriated purpose, Hoda.
Yeah, and Gabe, this comes after increasing criticism from members of his own party.
Yeah, Hoda, just days ago, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, a staunch Biden ally, slammed the administration in a scathing letter, calling the migrant influx untenable and calling out the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border. The White House says it's provided $46 million in funding for migrants to Illinois, but the governor's office told me that is not nearly enough. Meanwhile, New York City officials have been sounding the alarm for the better part of a year and are now asking a court to suspend its right to shelter law, which requires migrants to have a place to stay.